compromised. And I think that the military, have to do a lot of house cleaning, because you see, you have all these instances. We never had a case of somebody being picked up. Yes, we hear of cases of insurgents being killed. We hear of arrests being made. But do you know, it's quite strange that you've never had a case of, the military intelligence rounding up some spies within its rank.
Mm-hmm.
And that is quite disturbing, really. You don't fight wars like this. You don't fight offenses like this without having black folks. It's so hard of, so it's quite disturbing, really.
All right, we have the Nigerian Senate directing the military to redeploy troops and advanced equipment, and also the Senate Chief Whip Tari Monguno saying that the militants use drones and IEDs, causing high casualties, and now they want them to respond with modern technology. Why didn't they have that in the first place?
No, I think the military really they have those hardwares. They have, but you see that equally says the extent to which even the lawmakers are informed about the nature of this kind of warfare. You are asking them to deploy military hardwares, military troops, and the rest of them. That will not solve the problem. I expect them to do a thorough probe of how that thing came about in the first. That's the first question. How did they overwhelm the base? Why is it, I expect them to, request the presence of, the military chief to come and give explanation as to how that happened and let Nigerians know exactly what is happening. You see, the quality of governance sometimes does not even inspire confidence. That's the problem. You see, they're asking the wrong questions. You understand? Making the wrong, they're giving the wrong directive. The first thing is you have to question them. That's why they are lawmakers. Appropriated money, budgets upon budgets to fight insurgency. Why are they not getting results? These are some of the things they should first ask. All
right. 0807-777-9927 is the number to call and to be part of the conversation and make comments as you deem fit as a Nigerian this morning. Let's move into another conversation real quick. This one is on the United Nations Children's Fund. They've decried the growing diversion and illegal resale of ready-to-use therapeutic food meant for over 500,000 malnourished children in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. UNICEF's Maiduguri Field Office Chief Joseph Senesi described the situation as getting out of hand and warning that the act could lead to more child deaths and discourage donor support.
You see, what we have seen here is that same failure of governance that we have seen in the fight against the insurgents. The level of corruption, in management of aids, foreign aids and things like that, and even, defense budgets is appalling. You kind of wonder what kind of humans, what quality of humans, what kind of conscience do people that steal food meant for malnourished children, what kind of conscience do they have? While I was stationed in Abuja, I recall there was one diplomatic incident between the Saudi government and the Nigerian government that concerning, the supply of free dates. I hope you know this. It's what they call
labedon, right?
Yeah.
These dates were given to Nigerian Muslims during the Ramadan, and it was unaccounted for. Now, we're talking of a free gift meant for people who are fasting during the Ramadan period that is supposed to be a holy month, and people had the mind to even pilfer those things. That tells you exactly where the conscience of some people that work within government, where their conscience actually lie, whether it's in front or the back or somewhere else, or maybe it's non-existent whatsoever. Back to the question of this, this malnourished, this therapeutic food that has been there for over 500,000 children. And this is a place that already has a problem of IDPU. You have a problem of out of school children. And the federal government is talking about, reintroducing school feeding into schools. You don't even know where to start discussing this matter. You don't even know where to start discussing it. Is it the officers? You see, and the unfortunate thing is that this is the last you are going to hear about this. There will be no proof. There will be no questioning. There will be no arrest made. Nobody is made to hang in the market square for that kind of infraction.
All right, Nicholas.
So it's a very sad development, honestly.
A very sad development.
All those kids. You sometimes wonder, at what point are we going to get this right? And for the UNICEF that is even supplying things like this, and when they hear these stories, when they hear this kind of stories, it's very discouraging. There are lots of people out there in the world who need this food, who are in dire need of this kind of assistance. But, maybe because of the strategic importance of Nigeria, you have it come over here. But when they hear stories like this, you wonder how long they are going to continue to give such assistance to Nigeria.
All right, Nicholas, it's really quite sad because this is not the first time we have a situation like this, and then the scenario you painted of that date that was given to share to people and then was nowhere to be found. If you recall, during the COVID-19 pandemic as well, two palliatives were stored off,
away, yeah.
And the people who actually needed the palliative at the time were denied the chance. Also, we had a report a while back about siphoning foods meant for the IDPs somewhere in the northeast, and all of this meant for malnourished children. Well, my question is going to go to I just want you to speak on our humanity. Now, you will see that there are collaborators who encourage things like this. According to the report, it revealed that some health workers, traders, and transporters have been caught misusing these supplies. Again, like you mentioned in your statement, that nobody has been brought to hang in the market square, to serve as deterrent. But again, what has fueled this, kind of inhumane treatment, towards ourselves, and this covetousness that we are talking about? What has really fueled it? What has encouraged it over the years?
It will be so easy to simply dismiss it as poverty. But again, I beg to differ. There are countries which are poorer than Nigeria, but have a high record of transparency, better records of transparency. For me, I think on one hand, what is our own area, the quality of orientation, and a very weak governance infrastructure when it comes to distributing aid to people that are needy. Over the years, we have allowed a lot of people who have no business in being involved in this kind of in business of charity, getting involved in it. If you recall, at some point there was this proliferation of NGOs and things like that, principally because of the aids that are, attached to it. People just go and just form NGOs because they want to access grants. You understand? So you have a proliferation of NGO industries, and the poor oversight of, government, in managing them. You see, people just see it as another way of getting rich, another way of getting employment. But you see, NGOs are essentially, they are social worker. They are dedicated social worker. If you look at how it all evolved from abroad, where we brought it, where we copied that culture from. It's about people who are selfless. It's about missionary work, essentially. That was where all this NGO thing came about. That was how they came about. But all of a sudden, you just have people who are in need of some form of engagement or the other decide to go into funding an NGO. You understand? And that is where the problem is. There is no oversight. There is no thorough probe. There is no supervision. So at the end of the day, what you now have is you have a cartel of people who are just waiting in the wing to seize what belongs to ordinary, vulnerable Nigerians. That is my take. That is at the preliminary. That is what I think is the problem. The channel with which all this is distributed is not well vetted. They are not well supervised.
All right, Nicholas. 0807 777 That's the number to call to be part of the conversation this morning. You can leave us a message via WhatsApp as well, too. Let's move on to another interesting story. This time, a little bit of politics.
All right, we have the former Benue State Governor, Gabriel Soswam, has described the People's Democratic Party as being in the intensive care unit and also warning that the party's survival hangs in the balance. And he made the remarks during an interview session, noting that internal crisis and recent defections have put the opposition party in a critical state. What's your reaction to that?
If you're talking about, if I hear it correctly, you're talking about PDP.
Yes.
I suppose.
Yes, PDP. Soswam is saying that they are now in the ICU and they face a 50-50 chance of survival. How true do you think that statement is?
It's an accurate depiction, actually. What you have here is, it is becoming increasingly clear that the man who is in charge of the party is in bed with the ruling party. And PDP is supposed to be an opposition party. You have the FCT Minister Wiki, working with the government as a minister. And he has vowed that he's going to support Tinubu for 2027. So you then ask, what is the place of opposition? So if as an opposition party, its reason there, that is the reason of existence, is to be opposition. And now the person in control of it is now saying that, no, we are not going to oppose the government in place. So of course, that means the dead party. It's as simple as that. In fact, that 50-50 chance I think it's a bit generous. You understand? I think we are talking of a 70-30 chances of, survival. That is 30% chance of survival against odds of 70%. That's my candid take on it.
All right. How do you react to the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike walking into the governors and the PDP Governors Forum meeting in Abuja? His first in several months.
It further protests what I said. Okay. That the man is in absolute control of the party. He owns the party lock, stock, and barrel, as it were. So, if there is any chance of survival whatsoever, it is not yet in the horizon.
Right.
I don't see it.
With the action,
I've always said, politics is like a biscuit. If you cut it, you don't know exactly which line is going to follow. But let's see what plays out in the long run, ahead. Because the Nigerian politics is one of the most unpredictable game you have. It's like Russian roulette.
But again, it does look like one man appears to be bigger than the political party. And this time we're talking about the PDP. You haven't really associated yourself with your members for a while. And then there's a governors forum meeting, and then you walked in just like that, making a very, very bold statement to other party members. Again, isn't this some evidence to the PDP, caucus and the PDP as a political party that this is outright anti-party displayed by the FCT minister? And can a committee be set up for disciplinary action? Just in case, we're just saying.
Who will set up? Who will discipline FCT? Discipline FCT. Nyesom Wike has become a colossus. He's a colossus in the party. He's like, the best way I can describe it, that leaves a bit of optimism is that it's like a bull in a china shop. Where a shop where you have china wares, very brittle, very fragile. You have to be very careful in easing the bull that gets into that place. If not, it's going to destroy everything. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of thing that's the kind of image that Nyesom Wike is. So if there is going to be any iota of salvaging that can be done to PDP, it has to be carefully crafted and carefully planned to ease him out of the party. Only then can there be, can the PDP have a breathing space to survive.
All right. How do you think the task ahead of the former Senate President Bukola Saraki will be as he heads the reconciliatory committee? Do you think it's going to be an easy task for him to be able to bring back the PDP, looking at the current gale of defections from the PDP?
It's going to be an onerous task for Saraki. Because you see, anybody you are going to bring in to clean up the party has to be exemplary. He must be exemplary as a party man. You see, look, if I'm an aggrieved person like Nyesom Wike, you understand, and you ask me to appear before Saraki, the first question I will ask is, the decline of PDP, who were the principal actor, happens to be one of the principal actors. If you have forgotten, I don't know if Nigerians have forgotten the so-called new PDP, who were the principal arrowheads of the new PDP. You have Atiku, you have Saraki, you have a lot of these powerful, PDP governors who led the party and joined APC. You understand? They were the one who brought PDP to its knees. So what are you reconciling, and to what end are you reconciling? That's the question. It's a moral question that they have to answer. So I think it's a kind of poetic justice, for men like Saraki, to having to answer for their past crimes. They have to now come to reckoning with their past actions. That is what is happening.
All right, Nicholas. Thank you for joining us. 0807 777 9927. You can leave us a message on WhatsApp on that number, and you can call in live as well too. 0807 777 9927. Let's take this call.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Mr. Davis calling from Shaw.
All right, Mr. Davis, please go ahead with your comment.
I'm very happy with Mr. Nicholas this morning. What is happening in PDP today? It's for the law of private. Whatever a man sows, is those who work against the matter trying to destroy the house because they want to go and rent the house. Now they are driving the house from the house themselves. From their own house. Discovering that the house is I think it's only to better the capital. Whatever goes wrong, then you come plan. That. On the issue of attack on the military, you see, military are doing it. What have to look at the are they affecting the military? I would say no. On the issue of aid, the minister's aid, we can do affect this point. On the one we introduce capital punishment in this country, the government of this country will not use, brought to his now. When things like that are happening, I need to
All right. Thank you, Mr. Davis from Shao. Please, when you call in, speak. I'm calling to your phone so Nigerians can enjoy your comments this morning. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and you can go straight to the point. On WhatsApp, we have messages. Good morning, everyone. Really enjoying the news analysis. My contribution, we thank God Nigeria is seeing some positive feedback and developments down to the state. We just need the restructuring to reach the local government areas. Nigerians, let's always stay positive, pray for leaders, and lead by example. God bless Nigeria, the states, Ilori, and of course, God bless Flo FM. Thank you very much for your message. Good morning to the presenters in the studio. Your guest said something yesterday that didn't sit well with me. He called Governor Fubarak a weak man. Will he call President Jonathan a weak man for saying his ambition is not worth the lives of Nigerians? Both could see into the future of violence and decide to be the bigger person in their situation for the sake of peace. Paul from Ilori. Nicholas, how do you react to that real quick?
My take is this. I said that at no point did I support Fubara, and I stand by that. What I was saying was that the issue at stake has to do with constitutionality. Now, I spoke about Fubara because he has, there was a precedent, to his being elected. We don't know what happened. So if you're talking of Goodluck Jonathan, the issue that, what differentiates them was that Jonathan obeyed constitutionality. The election says that he was defeated and he left. You understand? He didn't fight. But what we had in the case of Fubar was that the constitution is very clear on how to remove a governor. You understand? I expect him to fight on the side of constitutionality. That's what I said. So if I said he's weak because he is so clear that he could challenge it, then I mean what I said. So it's not a personal slight on him as I'm describing his character as a person, as a governor. So it's not. I don't mean it to insult him as a person, but of course you have to look at the books. I don't like looking at. You have to look at where the thing started from and how we got to where we are.
All right. Thank you, Nicholas, for clearing the air on that. 0807 777 9927. And that's the number to call to join the conversation. Hassan Mohammed Rabiu from Malete, thank you for your comment this morning. 0807 777 9927. That number connects you directly to make comments, pass your comments, or make your contributions on any of these touched stories, or anyone that's catching your attention and you want to bring to the attention of the people so we can debate them. 0807 777 9927. Well, time is for spent. Well, let's quickly squeeze in one more story if we can.
Okay, this one real quick. We have Lamido urging Tinubu to pay Abiola 45 billion naira debt, saying that he can't lose on both sides. That he got about the controversy, long-standing controversy surrounding the annulled June 12, 1993 election, and he was describing Abiola as doubly punished because he was denied both the presidency and his rightful payment. What do you think about that, real quick?
Sorry, could you say who made that statement?
Lamido, former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido.
He launched a book recently.
Yes, he did.
And if there is anything you need to know about Lamido, Lamido has always been a man that is committed to social justice.
Nicholas,
what he has said is in keeping with
Nicholas, please, Nicholas.
The right thing must be.
All right, we need to cut you off at this point, Nicholas.
So I'm not surprised about that.
All right, thank you. We need to cut you off at this point.
It's one of those parts of life.
Nicholas,
about now that
we need to cut you off at this point. Thank you for joining us virtually this morning.